Hello there! My computer is dropping frames to hell, but it should in fact be working right now. I know it's been a while. I just finished my first college finals, and I am really behind in the Magnus Archives. I was trying to, if you saw my updates, I was trying to go at a pace of like 10 per week. It failed tremendously. I managed it for 1 week, and then after that it was all downhill from there. But I'm on Dig. So I have about maybe 13-14 episodes before I'm caught up to back where I used to be. And it's disappointing, but this winter break is up. That's like two full weeks of me, because the thing is that it's 1 year ago is I believe in November when I started my Magnus Archives reaction series, and that's when I was grinding. I was grinding every day. That is when I was working it. I was going off at two Magnus Archives reactions a day, basically. Even it was school too, but I just went home and I kept going. And it was a great time, and I was in my peak moment for the series. Why does it say I'm not receiving enough frames? I'm not even doing anything. What frames do you need? Okay, whatever. I think Tetris might die again, just like last time I tried to play Tetris while listening to the Magnus Archives, which is not. I found a new website though, but it'll be unfavorable if it dies. But I will try not to. I don't know what I'll do if it dies, but I'll just continue commentating, I guess. Because my computer is having a hard time existing recently, it seems. Let's just see. Dig.
To navigate them. BetterHelp connects people with
BetterHelp.
therapists trained
I've
to
heard
help
weird
you
things about
navigate
BetterHelp.
challenging emotions and
Anything
learn
for
productive
you
coping
guys to earn
skills.
money.
As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed
I'm
therapists
sorry,
searching
ads.
for the right therapist. Learn more.
The Black Tongue Thief by Krishna. I'll give it a...
Okay, cello music. Let's see if I can
Rusty
start.
Quill
Whoa.
presents The Magnus Archives.
This moment, it's so loud. Oh my god, oh, Tetris, you're so loud.
Episode 88.
Oh,
Dig.
my computer can't handle this.
Huh. You still recording then? Well,
I'm really bad
I
at
thought that
Tetris,
was
by the
John's
way.
thing.
I mean, yeah, a bit. You wanted to see me?
What are my
Yeah,
controls?
well, your boss is busy, and I tried talking to Tim, but...
Yeah, right.
And he said Sasha's gone, so I thought I'd talk to you.
Okay, what do you want?
What's going on in
I'm
the
looking
Magnus
for
Archives
Daisy.
right now?
Okay, I
Oh,
don't
this year.
know where she is. I don't know where anybody is. Why does everyone
And
think that I
John's
always
gone.
know where
Okay, yeah.
everyone is?
That was like,
all
who's
the
on
time?
right
Okay,
now?
alright, sorry.
Okay.
They said at the station that this was the last place she checked in.
When she was interviewing us, that was like a month ago.
Oh god,
Yeah, I
my
haven't heard
computer's
anything,
dying.
so I went to check in with her at the station, and they said she hadn't been in since February.
And no one's looked into that?
I mean, they don't keep a close eye
Oh
on.
my god.
Well, she goes off the grid sometimes when working a case. Never this long, though. I thought it might have something
Hold
to do with,
shift? Okay.
you know.
Look, he didn't kill anyone, okay?
Oh god.
I think something's going on, okay? I actually think he was framed.
Yeah, well, I hope
Oh
so.
god, this is not. My time is gonna
If
be
not,
awful here.
well, just can't believe I was so stupid, you know? He really got me.
Got you how?
I actually thought I misjudged him. Hell, I like the guy.
You
Wait,
better,
you mean-
because he's
like you-
Jonathan
No,
Strange.
what? Ugh, no. Why does everyone
Right,
think...
yeah, because I don't actually...
I mean, he was good company, you know, when he wasn't being a paranoia machine. He was funny, you know?
That's true. He is very funny.
John.
Yeah.
His existence is
I've
funny.
never
No, that's a
heard
joke. I'm
intelligent.
being mean to him.
Maybe you weren't listening.
He's
Right.
in the neurotic
Well,
way
I'm sure it'll all get
that
sorted out
people
when
are funny
Daisy brings him
when
in, and
they're
you can probably
having
talk
mental
to him then.
breakdowns.
Oh, sorry, I forgot you're not actually with the police anymore, are you?
Thanks. So you have no idea where Daisy is?
I'm sure she's fine. She's probably just using her operation discretion to bully someone else.
What did you say?
Well, she was really rude, actually. She threatened to...
No,
say
no.
that I-
She didn't
Did you use the phrase operational discretion?
Yeah, she said she
Oh
had
no,
full
that's her
operational
murder,
discretion.
murder phrase.
Is everything alright?
I need to find him.
Well, I'm sure your partner will find him. I just hope she's not as...
No, I need to
nasty.
find him now.
Who are you
You're
trying to
sure
kill,
you
Daisy?
don't know where she is?
No, I don't know anything.
Okay, alright,
Is that
fine.
is that the Sierra going like?
Just- here's my
I'm pretty
number.
sure that means
You
she's
call
trying
me
to kill him.
immediately if you find anything out,
Fine,
okay?
now, please,
Oh
we're
God,
really
what am I
busy.
doing?
Yeah, I need to go.
Yeah, good luck. Right, let's...
Oh, what am I doing? Statement.
Martin Blackwood, archival assistant at
Oh.
the Magnus Institute.
Hey, that
recording
lagged, that
statement
lagged,
number
okay? Everyone get away from me.
003
That didn't happen.
1104,
What?
Statement of
Oh.
Enrique Macmillan, given
Oh
4th
no,
November
okay.
2003.
Time to get rid of these.
Statement begins. I never really loved the digging. Too much
Dig.
like hard work, I
Dig,
always used
I
to
remember
say.
this
And I'm not
episode.
a young man anymore. So generally, if the finds aren't
Wait.
near enough the surface for me to just pick them up, I'll leave them be.
Oh no.
Sometimes,
Wrong,
though,
okay.
you just can't help yourself.
I keep doing
You need to know
space instead of
what's under there.
shift.
So you get down on your
Lord.
knees and dig,
Lordy, Lord, Lord.
Dig. dig.
My struggles.
Last Saturday was like that. I hadn't thought it would be, really. My knees had been acting up all week because of the damp, and I was mainly going out for the walk rather than looking for any particular finds. To be honest, I was
There's
in
the
two minds
shift
about
button.
taking the metal detector at all. It's not exactly a lightweight piece of equipment.
God, what am I doing?
Back when I lived in London,
Whatever.
I always used to do mudlarking down the Thames,
That did not
wandering
happen.
through the low
I-
tide with nothing but a bag, my eyes and a pair
It's
of
the
thick
lag,
gloves.
guys. It's the lag.
I miss those days, without the weight of the detector.
Metal
without the need
detectors.
to dig.
I'm listening.
I don't even know why I took it. In the end, that stretch of beach is hardly
It's,
virgin
I can't
territory
tell
for
how
others
I
like
can't
me.
tell how far it's
And it's
going
usually
because of
been
how
picked
bad it's
perfectly
lagging.
clean.
I
So
literally
you can
think it's
imagine
going.
my surprise when I started to pick something up just before Smeaton's Pier. It was almost dark by this point, and the cool salt air of St Ives Harbour blew a fine spray of sand
I'm
against
like,
my
I have to
cheek.
do it so
It stung slightly, but not in an unpleasant way.
cautiously
Bracing,
because
I
I
think
might
the
go
word is.
one too far.
It was
I
peaceful,
can't
quiet,
click the spacebar button.
and I was
It's
lost
gonna
in my
screw
own
me.
thoughts, staring out over the darkening ocean, when the metal detector interrupted, breaking my trance. I pulled out my little
Finally.
torch and shone it at the spot, looking for the telltale glint. But there was nothing but sand. Whatever it was must have been buried. I was debating with myself whether to leave it be when the detector barked again, more insistently. I hadn't found anything else that day, so I sighed, pulled out my small metal spade out of my bag, and started to dig.
I literally am.
It was only a
okay.
minute or two before I saw it. A hint of gold-plated metal amid the coarser gold of the sand. A watch.
Wait, what is happening right now?
The face was cracked
How
down
does
the
this
middle,
game mode work?
and the hands were frozen at 4:19. But other than that, it seemed to be in rather good condition. Not
I
a
don't
bad
think I'm
little
doing
find,
enough
I remember
lines,
thinking
guys.
as I
Oh
started to
God.
clean the sand from around it and uncover the wrist it was still attached to.
Oh,
I think I screamed.
that.
I must have
that just
cried out in
happened.
some way, but nobody heard me, as there was no one to hear but me. I cleared away a bit more sand, just to be sure of what I was
That
seeing.
is my computer. That is 100% my
stiff,
computer.
Unmoving
What
hand.
the hell just happened? Okay.
The flesh was icy
Fine.
cold and discoloured, so I was certain its owner must be dead, but it didn't appear to have begun decomposing. I lowered myself slowly to the ground, trying
Dig.
to collect my thoughts,
Dig.
considering the thing I had just discovered with my clumsy,
Music that's not playing.
reckless digging. I wanted to call the police immediately, but I don't
have to be
have a
very
mobile phone,
careful
and
that
it was
things
a
are
little
going
bit
where
of
I
a
want
walk
them
to
to
the
go.
nearest phone box. My legs wouldn't stop shaking when I tried to stand up, so I sat there for a while, my torch shining on that lifeless hand, trying to compose myself enough to go get help. It was an odd thing, that hand. The fingers were bent and bloody, and the nails had been chipped and broken. From the looks of it, the damage had happened before its owner had passed away. Then I noticed something else in the sand next to it. something protruding, ever so slightly, from the sand I'd already disturbed. It didn't seem to be part of the body. I found myself reaching over to try and pull it up. It slipped out of the sand easily, eagerly even, and I didn't even need to dig. It was a book. The cloth of the cover had worn away, and it was still
It says
wet
dig,
from the
dig.
seawater that covered
I
the area
keep saying
at
the
high
same
tide.
things. I don't know.
I expected it to be a useless
what other
lump
joke do I
of
make?
wet paper mush, fused together and unreadable, but when I pulled it open the pages came apart easily. There was a label at the very front,
Oh,
but the
God.
ink had run, and I have no idea what it might
Bad
have said.
placement.
So I turned to the first page.
Why
It
do
was
you
very
that?
strange. It was just the one word, solid capital letters in a small, neat typeface at the very center of the page. It said, dig. I took that to be the title and turned to the next page. Dig. Exactly the same. The third page, dig. The fourth page, dig. Dig, 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 dig. Holding it hurt my hands. You know the way that if you say or read a word over and over again, it starts to lose all its meaning?
Okay.
To just
That's not fair.
sound like a jumble of noises or unrelated letters. Well, this was the opposite. Every time I read it, it was like the meaning of the word became more solid in my mind. I knew what it was to find your meaning buried in the earth, to claw your sense from
perfect
under the
block, I
sand
don't-
and mud and soil. To dig. I had almost completely unearthed the
God,
body
thank
when the
God.
police arrived. Apparently a late-night jogger had spotted the scene and called them. They believed me when I explained to them how I had found it, though they were none too pleased that I had so thoroughly ruined what may well have been a crime scene. I don't think it was, and one of the friendlier officers later told me that the man had probably dug himself too deep a hole in the beach, and it had collapsed on him when the tide had come in. A tragedy, but not unheard of. They still weren't pleased with me though, and once they had my statement I was sent on my way. The book was in my bag, and they didn't ask to
no.
look inside, so
That's a bad
I kept it.
thing.
I probably should have mentioned it to the police, but they were very rude. I understand now, of course, that they were simply irritated that I had robbed them of their opportunity to dig. Perhaps they sensed it, that need inside of us. Above us, you see, there's only the sky, the infinite, a void of space and emptiness, so incredible that to think of it in detail is to overwhelm the mind. But down into the earth, through the many layers of this globe, this sphere built and crusted upon a single beating point.
Why
The
is it not
center
letting me
of the
go?
universe
Okay.
for each and
Jesus.
every one of us, that
Why is it
glorious
going two at a time?
convergence from which
Tetris sucks.
everything, everywhere is up. And to reach it, to approach that source, that rolling, molten center of it all, the only
Okay,
thing
ground
you
people.
have to do is dig.
Okay, ground book.
I've dreamed of it, of course. Safe and happy below, wrapped on all sides
I-
by uncounted miles
Stupid.
of crushing,
Okay.
loving earth and stone. I see it, and watch the passing of history build upon it, layer after layer. To travel down into the ground is to travel through time. That's what I always used to say, before I found my book. And I still believe it. But time is the least of the things that waits for us down there.
Why does it go
Things
two when
I
I
can
press it
barely
once?
think of without collapsing in fear. 1,000 terrible things trapped and alone, out of air and out of light, all contained within those 3 hideous letters. Dig. In those dreams I hold a spade. It screams when I plunge it into the weeping soil, and the voice it cries out with is
It's
my
always
own.
someone who enjoys it that
The
gets
soft
screwed over by
mud
it.
begs me to
It's
stop,
like, you
trying in
enjoy
vain to
caving,
save
time
me.
to get traumatized by
Do
it.
not listen. And the pitted ruin of my shovel moves lump
Oh my God,
after lump of it,
God.
tearing it free of itself and piling it around me, sculpting my own grave, bringing the ground up to meet me where I must be buried. fills my lungs, and I am free. I am awake.
I did not
The
place that
shovel
there,
is
by the
in my
way.
hand, and the book is open to its chapter and verse. Dig.
Why did I do that? Okay.
In the moments without the shovel, without the torn ground, I have tried to find out more about the book. Maybe even get rid of it.
I pressed the
The
button once.
bookseller
it
I
moved
asked
two
about
times.
it pointed me towards you and yours before I dug into him, and so here I came.
You dug
Tell
dug
my
into
story,
him.
of course, but
Okay.
another thing as well. Cold, empty, and calling. There's something here, you see. Something to be dug up, rooted out, buried within. A hollow space that all eyes point towards. And I intend to reach it
Eyes.
if my fingers don't give out
This
first.
is interesting. What's
I
the
know where to
relation
dig.
between the eye and the ground
Um,
people? What's their
yeah.
Some people are
The statement ends
like
rather
some
abruptly
entities
there.
are like adverse to each other,
Based
and
on a
some
few
are like
scattered
the
notes
opposite.
and
So
accounts from some of the older
I
staff,
said
it
there's
sounds
something
like
just
Mr.
a
McMillan got
chord
in
to
a bit
dig
of a
out to
fight,
discover
which led
in
to
the
his arrest,
institute.
and the replacement of quite a bit of the floor in John's office. There are still a couple of boards with marks on them that I'd always hoped weren't fingernail scratches, but I guess. Anyway, Mr. McMillan passed away whilst awaiting trial. Official cause of death is listed as asphyxiation, but
I
I
doubt it.
can't find any details about exactly what happened. The book is currently held by artifact storage in a welded iron box and placed on the top of the Do Not Access list. But since then, it doesn't look like it's caused anything weird to happen. Yes?
Hi, have you got a moment?
Yeah, I think.
What
Are you
am I
all right?
doing?
Yeah. Sorry, just a
Oh
lot of
God,
change
this is
recently.
bad.
You know, you and John and Sasha, and everything's gone a bit
Clinton
wrong.
doesn't like change. That's what Tim said.
It's this, the not knowing, you know. I mean, John's still alive. Not sure why, but I'm sure of that. But Sasha,
Yes, it's probably.
Sorry.
You submitted that?
What do
Okay.
you need?
Oh, right. Yes. Is there any sort of database, maybe statement givers or people referenced? I'm trying to get hold of a witness from a recent one.
Yeah, I wish. That would make the job a lot easier.
No one's even tried to make one.
Oh, you weren't here when we took the place over from Gertrude. I mean, it's been over a year just to get it like this. I mean, I think the
I wonder
database
if
was
she
on
did
John's
it
list.
on
but-
purpose.
So how do you track someone down?
Oh well, you know, we've got a few contacts in various record offices around the place. Aside from that, it's just a bit of detective work, really. Tim used to do a great line in impersonating people to utility companies. Oh, the number of times he got them to, you know, give him his own address and...
Right. This one, the name is Jude Perry. Doesn't mean anything to you, does it?
No? Did you give a statement?
Not yet.
Well, sorry, I can't be more help.
Sure. Oh, one other thing. Who do I talk to about artifact storage?
Oh, depends what you need. Probably Sonia? Why?
Sonia
Are you
mentioned
sure you're ready
before.
for it?
What's
I
that
believe.
supposed to mean?
No, I just, you know, it's... There's quite a lot of weird
I'm not
stuff,
an
and I-
amateur, Martin.
No,
Oh my God,
I know
my
the sort of
video
thing
looks
that's in there.
awful.
I-
Should I turn on my
I
encoding
just need to
preset?
know who I talk to about missing pieces.
Yeah, probably Sonia. Wait, why? What's gone missing?
An old Calliope organ. It's there in the inventory, but no one
Not
can
the
find it when I ask.
Calliope.
Huh.
I thought it was
That's not
pronounced
Great.
Calliope.
Did you need it for something?
And then
Just
she
following up
dies.
a statement. Trying to get a few answers, you know?
Oh my God.
Well, if you find
my
any,
computer's dying
let me
right
know.
now.
The Magnus Archives is a podcast distributed
That
by
was the
Rusty
end.
Quill,
Cliffhanger.
licensed under a
The
Creative
circus
Commons
people are
Attribution
everywhere.
Non-commercial share-alike 4.0 international license. Today's episode was written by Jonathan Sims
Oh
and
my
directed
Lord, my
by
computer's
Alexander J.
dying.
Newton.
Oh jeez.
To subscribe, view associated material, or join our Patreon, visit rustyquill.com. Rate
God.
and review us online.
My computer
Tweet us
really
at
doesn't
The
like
Rusty
recording
Quill.
browser games,
Visit us
huh?
on Facebook or email us at mail@rustyquill.com.
Okay,
Join
twice
our
as bright
communities on the
time.
forum via the website or on Reddit at r/the Magnus
Jude Perry.
Archives. Thanks for
John's gonna
listening.
track her down. Oh, this is the one where he grabs her hand, doesn't he? Because he's an idiot. Jonathan Sims. Oh my god. Okay. Why? I did not click that one. Oh god, my computer is going crazy.
Hi everyone, Alex here, co-creator of the Magnus Archives.
All of the evidence.
Follow Jake Fisher, who discovers
Professionally licensed and vetted therapists, available 100.
Cello. But my encoding's already at ultra
Rusty
fast.
Quill
There's nothing I can do.
The Magnus Archives. Episode 89.
Interesting.
Twice
Why is
as
it
bright.
says encoding overloaded? What do I have to do? Do I have to download this game? Oh god, I have to download Tetris. Okay. Sure. When I
Something
download
funny, Miss
Tetris.
Perry.
Yeah.
Care to share?
I think it's pretty obvious.
Look, I lost my normal coat and it's cold. Some of us actually feel it, you know.
You wouldn't shake my hand.
Well, no, I'm not stupid. Whatever the lightless flame is. Look, will you stop that?
Me when I find cult members.
Oh, all right. Oh, I hate explaining jokes, but imagine you're
Ooh,
a
are we
butcher,
outside? I hear some
and
birds.
one day, an injured little lamb walks into your workshop and strides right into one of the mincing machines. But when you go up to it, knife in hand, it shakes
You really-
its head and
You don't have to make fun of Jonathan Sims that
stupid.
bad.
You get why that's funny.
Right. No more abattoir metaphors, please.
Jonathan Sims walks right into a
Would
slaughterhouse
you rather
for
be
some
a really
reason.
stupid piece of firewood?
I just have a few questions. Did
John
you
does
burn
not
down a
care.
section of Gwydir Forest last year?
Not alone, but yes. You should have seen how devastated they were. Such a loss.
I'm sure the Forestry Commission were mortified. Why?
Stop that!
Oh.
And it was because Nicola Ustinov
Compelling.
asked us to. She was done with the place, and we're always happy to help.
Yeah, they got rid of
When
the
that
place in
help is
Uncanny
destroying
Valley.
Something someone loves.
But
No more questions, Archivist.
You were a friend of Agnes Montague, correct?
She's not one of your little stories.
According to the statement of
She
Jack
does have a very
Barnabas,
tragic
very much
one,
is.
apparently.
Bird-faced little runt. He got what was coming to him. Just like...
Yes, I understand.
He was in
You could
love.
Easily kill me. I'm at your mercy.
How little he cares about his own
Things
life.
Much scarier than you.
That a fact.
Okay, so why haven't you done it?
We're in public.
Well, you're hardly keeping your voice down.
You talk about God and death and demons, nice and loud, and watch people bend over backwards not to listen to what you're saying. No one cares.
If you say
People
so.
do walk by those people on the
Are you
street.
trying to talk me into killing you? If I wanted, I could reach through your chest like Ronnie Wax and hold your heart while it cooked. No one would even notice if I didn't give you time to scream.
Right.
Okay
Right.
then.
So why don't you? Does your God not want you to?
Hard to say. When I look at you, I feel that burning liquid pain eager to flow out and purify your rotten carcass.
Okay then.
But I feel that a lot.
Normal.
More or less than normal.
Hard to say when every nerve ending's on fire. Hard to tell degrees.
Third degree, maybe? Oh, sorry. I was It was a... I have a god too, right?
Is that another joke?
No,
Yeah, I
mean,
didn't know when that
everyone
happened.
keeps calling me archivist, like I'm special and that I serve the Eye, trying to kill me for it.
Yes.
So it's like your god, right?
Oh, please. Your god is nothing.
Don't compare our gods, but like conceptually they're the same god. They're like gods,
Watcher,
right?
whatever you call it, that's all it does. It watches and knows, sitting bulbous and comfortable in the ignorance of infinite knowledge.
The ignorance of infinite knowledge.
Reckoning. A surging tide of destruction.
I
and
love this world.
pain.
The lightless flame.
The desolation. Blackened earth.
Ooh.
The destructive.
I remember when I heard this for the first time, I
agonizing
was
heat
like,
of
oh my
burning
god,
flesh
I love that
land
name.
Scoured of life. The light, the comfort of fire stripped from it, leaving nothing but the terror of its approach. When it triumphs, it will leave the Eye a burned and shriveled husk.
Okay,
It's
everyone
nothing but
says
its
that.
own agony.
I see. So if one wants to watch everything, to know everything, and the other wants to destroy.
You don't even know what this is about, do you?
He's
tell
trying
me.
to figure out the information, okay? He's making the
Archivist
connections.
Pleading for knowledge. That is satisfying to see.
Look,
Is
if
it
you're
not
just,
common?
You're just about my only lead, and if you're just kill me, all right? If it's so easy, if you're not going to tell me anything worth my time.
Now you're sounding like an archivist.
Okay.
No, I'm obviously not going to kill you.
Why not?
Consider it a favor.
Thank you.
Not for you. For Elias.
Wait, but no. I mean, if I serve beholding, or he's in a lot deeper than I am. I think.
The rumor is he killed Gertrude Robinson. If so, I feel like I owe him. And he clearly wants you alive, so...
What? No, but she was the last archivist, so your god... Why?
He's just like, what's
The
going
unfathomable
on?
contest
What's
of
going
eternal
on?
forces is not the only reason I might want someone dead.
So,
Personal vendetta.
So tell me the story of why you wanted Gertrude...
Try to compel me again, and
This is the first time we heard about
burst out of
compelling.
your mouth. Safe when the story isn't about them.
Fine. Keep your damn secrets.
This Tetris game is not working.
No.
That's fine.
Maybe I do want to tell you a story.
If it's not about Gertrude or Gwydir, and I can't talk about it... Right. Then what?
I'm going to give you some advice.
Fantastic. Well?
Aren't you going to say your words?
Statement of Jude Perry regarding...
Those are his
some
words.
advice. Recorded direct from subject, April 24th, 2017. Statement begins.
Well, if you smother a flame, it dies. The only way it grows and flourishes is if you feed it. It's about making sure you find enough fuel for it, and not caring where it comes from. If you
Oh my
spend
god,
your
Tetris
time
music.
hiding and
Make it stop.
fretting about who
Oh my
you
god. Oh my god. Oh god. What the heck? Oh god, make it stop. Okay. Oh no. I'm dying right now. Oh my god, it's so loud. Oh, it's not working now. Okay. Fine. This is great. This is fantastic. Oh god, what? Oh. Oh, the music worked. Okay. Oh god, oh god. No, I stopped the music, so I guess I'll just keep playing this.
Hurt, you'll sputter, and you'll die as surely as any candle. Don't be afraid to burn. The pain is sensational. You feel your flesh cooking, your nerves
I'm not a good
screaming
ping.
out
I'm
as
not a
they
great ping
die
guy, so.
exquisitely. Your whole body changes texture as you become that which feeds the fire. And in that agonizing, beautiful transformation, you can feel it ignite again and again and again. At least, that's how it feels for me. I don't know how it would feel for you. Maybe you get an itchy eye. I don't care. The point is, whatever form
The
it
itchy.
takes,
She really.
feed it. For it
How
is strong.
how clearly she like doesn't give a
You're
fuck
the
about the
one
eye.
who's
It's like so funny. Okay.
I never hid my flame. Not once. Even before I found my god. I burned as bright as I liked, and those who came too close simply ended up fueling my brilliance. At the time, the closest thing I had to God was cocaine, though I also spent
Okay.
my evenings as an acolyte to alcohol. But my true thrill was money. Not mine, of course, though I had plenty, but the money of others I could fling upon the pyre of the stock market. Whether it ignited
Gambling.
into something more or
Rich people
simply burned
gambling.
down to ash meant nothing to me. It was the thrill that I craved. This was decades ago now. I was one of the top bankers for... it doesn't matter, they're not important. Not to mention that a series of severe fires has long since put them out of business.
Oh.
The
Okay.
point was that I burned through too much of myself because I didn't know what else I could burn. My girlfriend saw it, though she had no idea how to help with the deep
Oh.
depression that had settled over me.
Oh.
I never slept much to begin with, but now even the choice seemed denied to me. I was sluggish and listless at work, and people began to notice. My rating began to drop. My colleagues would whisper and not so subtly leave me off invitations for what little socializing there was. I was burnt out in every sense but one.
I am burnt
And
out.
that was the one.
She smells of smoke. It seeps through
It
her
was
cracks, and
Agnes,
so
of
I
course.
start to choke.
I don't know
That's
where
a
she
stupid
found
reference.
me, for a young woman who smelled like matches and incense. I was drinking coffee so hot it peeled the skin from the roof of my mouth. But I didn't care, because looking at her filled me with every kind of heat. We were talking
Okay.
about sacrifice, about power, about things that even now I struggle to fully understand. She was soft-spoken and shy, and I gradually became aware of other people stood around us. There seemed nothing remarkable about them at first. Different clothes, different ages, just a dozen or so unremarkable
It's just not
strangers.
capturing it for some reason.
There was something in their faces, though. A vicious hunger that I knew mirrored my own. And they all looked at Agnes with such devotion. One of them, a round-faced black woman I'd later know as Sandy,
Oh.
squatted down
It
next
works
to me
with
and
window
stared
capture for
into
some
my
reason.
face.
Okay.
She made a noise of dismissal and leaned in close to stare at me. She said, "I don't think so." And her breath
Okay then.
hit me like a furnace. I instinctively thrust out a hand to push her away, but as I touched her face, she remained still, and instead my hand sank into it like softened candle wax. I screamed, but if anyone heard me, they didn't do anything. I could only stare as thick rivulets of molten flesh flowed down my arm and onto the ground. And Sandy's body shook as though with laughter. even as my hands stayed encased in
Oh my god, it's working.
warped and
It
yielding
works.
head.
It's not dying.
I probably don't need to describe how much it
Oh
hurt.
god, this is bad.
It would be a long
It is.
time before I was able to use the hand again. At last, I calmed down enough to pull my scalded, wax-encrusted hand from her head. She stood up, pressed her fingers to her face, and calmly squeezed it back into shape. It didn't look exactly the same as before, though there was no mistaking the voice that came from her lips. She turned to Agnes and nodded her approval. Agnes, for her part, had been talking this entire time, I realized. And
Destiny and
somehow
such.
I had been listening.
Whoa.
Nicholas
kind of
Tregenza was the one that I chose. I had other colleagues I hated far more, of course, and in many ways I might have even
Oh my
called
god.
Nick a
Let me
friend, but
escape.
unlike so many of the others, he had a lot to live for.
Let me go back because I missed some of it from
Agnes,
whatever just
for her
happened.
part, had been talking this in. It didn't look exactly the same as before, though there was no mistaking the voice that came from her lips. She turned to Agnes and nodded her approval. Agnes, for her part, had been talking this entire time, I realized, and somehow I had been listening. I knew what to do. Nicholas Tregenza was the one that I chose. I had other colleagues I hated far more, of course, and in many ways I might have even called Nick a friend, but unlike so many of the others, he had a lot to live for.
Okay.
His wife, Julie, had just given birth to a squalling brat that he'd named Desmond. Awful name for a baby. And he'd saved enough money to move away from London entirely. He'd just bought a house. When he spoke to me, he had hope in his face. And so much life in him, it still makes me smile to think about it. I invited him out for a
What
drink
am I
to
doing?
celebrate his good fortune.
Okay.
Got him drunk and stabbed him to death in a filthy alleyway near the edge of the Docklands.
Okay.
He didn't even have the wherewithal to look surprised.
Oh god, what am I
His
doing?
skin didn't yield as easily as Sandy's had, but I suppose that's what knives are for, isn't it?
Okay.
And
Murder.
just like that, he was dead. And I felt no different. I had a minute of blind panic. How could I have been such an idiot? I hadn't even planned ahead to consider how I might dump the body. I was just so desperate to stoke the fire. I still felt sputtering inside me. Then, all at once, I saw the faintest tongues of smoke creeping around his body. In an instant, it was burning, and I was surrounded by that smell of matches and incense, mixed with an oily smell like cooking pork. And as he
Ew.
burned, I felt my senses sharpen. My limbs were alive with searing energy, and my heart was aglow with love. The agonizing, terrifying love of something that I knew must be a god. My god.
So you're one of those
The
people
lightless
who
inferno
who's
of
really into the god
desolation,
angle.
of pain and destruction. My tears of joy were nothing but steam. Nick's body didn't completely burn to ash. Of course not. There needed to be something to identify. After all, what does my god care about death? It was the destruction of his life that it hungered for. The agony and fear of his wife and child, those that loved him. So they had to know he was dead. Killed and mutilated in a pointless and unforeseeable act of unutterable
It's also
violence.
about destroying other people's lives.
And
Okay,
simply a
not just
matter of
destruction.
forging
Good to know, good to
signature
know.
on a few documents implicating him in some very illegal transactions to get his assets stripped from him. Oh, and burning down the new house, of course. And with each act of glorious, hateful destruction, I felt my God's love embrace me, consume
This is
me,
bad.
give me life. Any feelings of pity or mercy I might have had for the poor woman I fed from were cauterized. Julie's dead now, of course, though I do keep half an eye on their son Desmond, see if he has anything worth taking from him. At first I channeled
That
this
did not
new
happen.
energy
Okay.
into my job and
Whatever.
my relationship. Gretchen and I had never been happier as I moved from one success to the next. I think she realized there was something else going on, though. Perhaps she suspected how much my mind drifted to Agnes when I held her in my arms. I
You were
know
in love
she
with
wondered
Agnes.
about how I started keeping Petra.
I mean, I should have
but-
known that.
and
I
about
did
my new
suspect
love
it
of
from the
scented
way you
candles,
described her
but she
with
never
the heat
asked,
and all.
never even mentioned it. Perhaps on some level she knew as well as I did where we were headed. But there are some things
That's why you were
just
so
have
mad
to
about that guy.
accept, that in the end they'll cause you pain. I should have been caught, really. For all that it gifted to me, my faith did little to hide my crimes, beyond ensuring they were scoured of physical evidence. And I know the police were investigating a possible serial murderer targeting people in my industry. But for whatever reason, they never gave me a second look. I later learned my new brothers and sisters of the Lightless Flame had taken it upon themselves to help hide my crimes. But even they are only human. Some of them, at least.
Okay.
I now know they were simply guiding me upon the path to my true epiphany. All this time I was serving my God, but only for my own
What am I
glory.
doing?
But with each new gift, each renewal of the fire, I saw how lifeless and hollow it was, how grey and ashen my existence had become. It became clear that where once I had destroyed to fuel my life, I now live for the pain that I caused. And for Agnes, my sweet, hopeless Agnes. And so I ended it. For all the agony and pain on Gretchen's face, she didn't seem surprised when I doused myself in kerosene and set it alight. I think she screamed. She must have
Your
screamed.
poor
But I didn't hear
girlfriend.
As
Okay.
the heat warped my bones and bubbled my flesh, all I heard was the loving exultation of my God.
I'm glad God was there for you at least.
I suppose
Okay.
you did compel me after all.
But what about,
Try again, and I will actually kill you. I don't care what favors your boss might have done for me. I will tell my
What
story.
favors
to
has he
your
done for you?
Smoldering corpse.
Fine. I just wanted to know when it happened, is all.
I met Agnes in 1989 and completed my transformation in 1991.
Oh. It's just that you don't... I mean, you don't...
You don't
seem
look that
like you're-
old.
What, in your 50s?
Come on.
Or burnt to a
John.
crisp.
Wax is remarkably easy to mold.
Ah!
Oh.
Oh.
I forgot his reaction was that funny.
Oh, come on.
Stupid. Okay.
You're going to need a much stronger stomach than
He
that
doesn't
if you're
have
going
it.
to walk this path.
I mean, I don't...
It's like you're not even listening. You have your God as I have mine. Feed it fearlessly and without hesitation, or it will feed on you.
But I don't...
Thanks.
I
That's
mean,
awful.
what do I feed it?
You're the one it picked. Not a great choice, if you ask me.
Well, he didn't pick it.
Ask you.
Exactly.
Look, is there anything else you can tell me?
Maybe subconsciously.
Yes.
Through personality.
Anything you're willing to tell me?
No.
And I suppose I could talk to anyone else in your,
It's fine. You can call it a cult. And no, they wouldn't.
You can call it a cult.
They're not as friendly as I am.
Well, thank you for the advice. And the dead end.
Wait.
Hmm?
If you're really keen to keep chatting to things that could kill you, I might know someone. We're not on great terms. He's closer to your lot than mine, but I know where he
Closer to your lot than
exists.
mine.
Who...
Interesting.
What is he?
calls himself Mike.
Michael?
I guess Mike is normally short for Michael, yeah?
Corridors, weird limbs, laughs like
Wrong
a
one.
headache.
What? No. I He's pale, got a big weird scar, smells of,
Lightning
Oza.
Man.
Yeah, that's the one. Hangs around with the Fairchild sometimes.
Michael Crew.
Hangs around with the Fairchilds.
I know where you can find him.
Vast
Where?
people. Am I supposed to know that? I know that by now.
Okay.
That's not one that someone
do you
gave me in a spoiler, like the Magnus Archives playlists on the Rusty Quill channel, which
Shake
is
my
spoiler
hand.
names.
What?
You hurt my feelings earlier.
And he's
I
gonna
want
do it
you
too.
to shake my hand.
Oh, child.
Come on. It won't hurt.
Fine.
Oh, John.
I lied.
I love the way it cuts off. It really sold it, because it tells you there's more. The pain continues.
The
Thanks,
Magnus
John.
Archives is a podcast distributed by
pause.
Rusty Quill and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 international license. Today's episode was written by Jonathan Sims and directed by Alexander J. Newell. To subscribe, view associated material, or join our Patreon, visit rustyquill.com. Rate and review us online, tweet us at The Rusty Quill, visit us on Facebook, or email us at mail@rustyquill.com. Join our communities on the forum via the website or on Reddit at r/The Magnus Archives. Thanks for listening.
Oh, yikes. No. This is unfortunate for me. Da, 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 da.
If you're listening to this podcast, you must recognize the value of asking questions. At Aramco,
Yes, this
our questions help
this
us
podcast
engineer
makes me
a
watch
better future.
ask
How
many
can today's
questions.
resources fuel our shared tomorrow? How can we deliver energy to a world that can't stop? How can we deliver one of the fuels of the future? How can we sow curiosity to harvest ingenuity? To learn more about how innovation drives us forward, visit aramco.com/poweredbyhow.
Hi everyone, it's Kareem, the voice of Simon Fairchild from the Magnus Archives. Today, I'm
Why
here
are
to
you
tell
doing
you
ads when
about
I haven't heard you yet?
a podcast launched on the RQ network. Ostium is an adventure, sci-fi, fantasy podcast set in the mysterious and thrilling town of Ostium, where some doors should not
That
be
was like
opened.
magic.
Follow Jake Fisher, who discovers the secret and abandoned town of Ostium in the far reaches of Northern California. When he eventually gets inside
California.
Ostium, he learns that the town is filled with many doors, each with its own specific number. None of the doors will open for him until he starts with the first door. It opens and begins a journey that will take him far away from his normal life, through many more doors leading to different places in space and time. Search for the Ostium Podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or go to ostiumpodcast.com or rustyquill.com for more information. Have fun. See you later.
Hi everyone, Alex here, co-creator of the
know.
Magnus Archives
I
and
wanna
voice of
sponsor it,
Martin
but for some
Blackwood.
reason it's not taking
I'm
my
here to
card.
quickly tell you about our Kickstarter for
I
the Magnus
tried.
Archives 2, also known as the Magnus
Kickstarter to
Protocol,
fix
a
its
full
website.
3-season continuation of the Magnus Archives podcast. This Kickstarter is live, and right now you can join over 5,500 backers who have already pledged more than £390,000 in less than
like at
24
six-
hours
like
to help make this project the biggest and best it could
600,000
possibly
so far.
be, unlocking bonus episodes, spin-offs, and more. You can help us hit even more exciting stretch goals, including live shows, and gain a bunch of exciting exclusive rewards for yourself. Just search for the Magnus Archives 2 on Kickstarter.com or visit rustyquill.com for more information. Thanks for your support.
We at Wondery, creators of Dr. Death, Scamfluencers, and Over My Dead Body, go deeper into complex true crime stories to give you an inside look at the facts. And now we're launching the ultimate true crime fan destination, Exhibit C. It's truly criminal. Wondery's Exhibit C gives you the detective's lens of all of the evidence, taking you step by step through the twists and turns of each true crime case. Join the Exhibit C online community to access exclusive show merchandise, member-only content, and to hear directly from top criminal and social justice experts, witnesses, and investigators as they take us beyond the evidence and into the case file. Join now by following Wondery Exhibit C on Facebook or find us on the web at WonderyExhibitC.com and listen to true crime podcasts on Wondery and Amazon Music. Exhibit C.
Comedy podcast because she needed paper.
.com/archives. That's
www.patreon.com/rustyquill and take.
Thank you. Was
Episode 90. Bodybuilder.
Jared, I think, the big buff one that stole the Bone Turner's tail, and who was like a bully. I guess that's my character description for that man. I believe that is who is speaking out. Oh my god, I've gotten through a couple episodes. I heard a lot of stuff about Jude Perry.
Hey boss, what brings you down to the dungeons? Your office just too full of joy?
Not quite. I heard you'd had some absences, some unauthorized leave.
And he, I remember that he tried to leave and he got sick, like physically.
If you're sick, you really need to call in.
Nope, wasn't sick. Try again.
Well, you hadn't booked any leave.
No, I had not.
So what happened?
I hopped a flight to Malaysia,
to
found myself a
Michael
hotel.
Crew.
I see.
Dang, that was a cool
tried to meet
episode. Jude Perry's backstory. I love how we set up these stories and we get glimpses of them from the perspectives of other characters, and then later on we get their whole story from their perspective, and we get glimpses of like other people's stories, and they keep coming in, and it's so cool. And apparently we get to hear Simon Fairchild later, which is a spoiler. Thank you, ads. But like I've been thinking about the Fairchilds, iconic. Just in my head, I'm like, oh my god, it's the skydiving people. You know, if you saw any of my reactions, you probably know that that they became a running gag for some reason. It's fine. Oh, that's I didn't even think about. Agnes was like, I for some reason didn't pick this up when I first watched this episode. Agnes was like, we're not on good terms right now. So they've met. Apparently all these like anomaly people just know each other. But yeah, apparently they've met and they're in a rough patch for some reason. But also she says he's more part of your lot than mine. Maybe less opposed to, like, you know, as John said, and Jude Perry made fun of, like burning it down versus like observing it or whatever he said. It's like they're opposed in that sense, and it's like the way she said it. It was like a categorization, like him being, what am I saying? Like a categorization, like there's like two separate categories of entity followers. Like, is it generally destructive entities? And I don't know, the Vast so far has been kind of destructive. Not just life-wise. I guess Desolation's more physically destructive. Vast is more mind destructive. Those people still died. Those people still got killed, but I don't know. Your ilk than mine. Or maybe it's just his constitution or how he acts. Is there something different about his connection with his less religious-y? I don't know. Interesting. Or maybe there's just is there a connection between the Vast and the Eye? I know from later we have, and before we actually heard previously about how the Magnus Institute and the Lucas family have like big fat connections. They are sponsors. And we can tell Elias and that guy, fucking George Lucas, not George Lucas, so whatever his name was, his last name was Lucas. They were, I don't know, business partners in that sense. So, I'm just wondering now, what does that mean? I want to make a relationship chart, but just for all the entities. Okay.
I got sick.
Tim tries to leave. Tim cannot leave.
I felt weak, like I was losing
Try
myself.
once again. This time with actual the ability to go
You gonna
fast.
fire me, boss?
Nope.
I don't think that'll be necessary.
Of course not.
But let's be sure it doesn't happen again.
Oh god, what am I doing?
You do know, right? I mean, you must know.
Know what?
About this place. About what it does
Definitely
to
he
us.
knows.
Tim, this place is very old. It
What am
has
I
all
doing?
sorts of idiosyncrasies, and
You're a liar.
not all of them are good for the people who work here.
Okay, gaslighter.
I've always found the best way to deal with it is to lose yourself in work. Personally, the comfortable rigor of bureaucracy has always helped me. Perhaps doing a bit of mindless filing will help distract you.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you're right.
I'm sure I am. And no more unauthorized absence, okay?
Oh, is everything okay in here?
Yes, Martin. Very much so.
Martin, run.
Right. I was actually going to record a statement, if that's all right, Tim.
Yeah, so already running.
Oh, so it is. Why did you
Why'd you turn it on? Nope, they're just turning on by themselves.
Martin Blackwood, Archival Assistant at the Magnus Institute, recording statement number 0130807. Statement of Ross Davenport, given August 7th, 2013. Statement begins. So I had to find a new gym. It was a shame, really. I loved my old place, and the guys
How
there
did
were
that
some of
guy
my
get
best
so
mates,
buff?
but
Does he have
it wasn't
bones
entirely
inside
my
him?
own decision. See, I recently decided to start taking anabolic steroids to supplement my bodybuilding, and the place I used to go had a very strict policy about them. Matt, the guy who ran the place, his partner had gotten deep into them, and when he had a heart attack, Matt blamed the steroids. Since then, you get seen with a needle or pill bottle that's not a recognised supplement, and you're out of there. Still, I didn't leave because I got caught or anything like that. I hadn't even
Okay.
started when I left. I just felt guilty. Like it was an admission of
Oh,
failure.
I didn't mean to go again. Okay,
11
fine.
years I'd been going, all natural, and physically I was at the top of my game. I did well in competitions, I felt healthy. I was pretty much the ideal weight for my height, but when I looked in the
Okay.
mirror, I still didn't see what I wanted to. My muscles were smooth and rounded, not like the veined, bulging shapes that I idolised. Even when I spent weeks dieting before a competition without an ounce of body fat, I just couldn't get there. I'd reached my natural peak,
What am I doing?
and it wasn't enough for me. So I did my research and ordered a cycle of steroids online. I didn't want to be unsafe, so I made sure I got a full checkup from my doctor before I started, though obviously I didn't mention why. Everything came back fine, so all that was left was to find a
I know
new
there's
gym where
there's like a
nobody would
name for
mind me taking.
body dysphoria to do with muscles,
Harder than it should
and
have
it's
been,
common in
mostly
men
because of my own
because of like
standards.
societal expectations.
Plenty of places had an official policy
But
banning drugs on site and just didn't enforce
cool
it.
and
To me, though,
not.
the whole point of moving gyms was that I didn't want to have to hide like a criminal or pretend to think what I was doing was wrong. I wanted somewhere I could be honest about who I was and what I wanted to be. Eventually I found it, weirdly enough, in the Yellow Pages. Online searches hadn't shown anywhere promising near my home, on the outskirts of Aberdeen, so I thought I might as well try the phone book. As you'd expect, most of the listings just pointed me towards their websites, but I spotted a small square ad box in the lower left corner. It was text only and read, "Your perfect body is here. Become all you can be," followed by a landline number and an address about 5 minutes walk from me. So I gave them a call. The voice that answered was rough and spoke in the sort of English accent that usually gets my hackles up. But when I asked him what the gym's policy on steroids was, he just laughed and said that if it helped me perfect myself, then it was more than welcome. I arranged to swing by the following day and check the place out.
Thanks.
From the outside, the gym wasn't much to look at. Just the faded outline of a dumbbell on a grimy window and the words weights and cardio just about readable over the door. I realised I actually passed this place pretty regularly and just always assumed it was out of business. The door was open though, so I went inside. It was a hot day, but the air in the reception was cool, tinged with that familiar scent of sweat and something else I couldn't quite identify. There wasn't anyone behind the desk, and the computer didn't look like it had been turned on all day. I was about to call out to see if I could get somebody's attention when I heard the door to the changing rooms open, and someone stepped out. The man who stood there was, without a doubt, the biggest guy I had ever seen. And bear in mind, I spend my time hanging out with bodybuilders. He had to hunch down to fit through the doorway, and was almost twice as wide as I was. Most of his body was covered in a loose tracksuit, and I could see clear stitch marks where it had been enlarged for him. Embroidered on the chest was the letter J. Despite his enormous size, his face seemed pretty normal, even handsome, with the sort of cheekbones and jawline I'd kill for. He smiled when I stammered out a hello and asked if I was Ross from the phone. Sure, I said, and he immediately launched into all sorts of questions about my workout, what I was looking for, what safety measures I had for my steroids, that sort of thing. None of it was unexpected, and he clearly knew his stuff. But then he started asking me some slightly more personal questions. Why I'd become a bodybuilder, how it made me feel, what parts of myself I hated.
No.
It felt a bit invasive.
I'm talking about my Tetris, not just this guy.
And he seemed satisfied, turning around and gesturing for me to follow as he headed in to show me around.
Do you have adequate self-worth issues?
Nothing special. It actually didn't have much in the way of cardio machines, but that had never really been my priority, so it wasn't a problem. There was also quite a lot of old-fashioned gymnastics equipment. Parallel beams, vaulting horses, high bars, all that sort of thing. It was a huge room, and to be honest, part of me just assumed that they were there to use up some of the space. It certainly had everything I needed, although I did wonder why we were the only ones in there. It was the changing room that really struck me as odd, though. It was just the one, apparently unisex, though I doubted any women were members. It was decent size and had plenty of showers, good water pressure, everything you needed. It seemed perfectly normal, except for one thing. The lockers were absolutely enormous. They came right up to the ceiling, which was easily 12 foot from the floor, and must have been a good 2 or 3 feet wide. Each had what looked to be a unique lock, and only a few of them had keys in. My guide explained that every member of the gym had their own locker and kept it as long as they were a member. I asked what happened when all the lockers were taken.
Do you build them up and then to take them inside you?
Members, he said. When he shrugged, the fabric of his hoodie moved in such an odd way. It was fascinating, and I made a mental note to keep an eye out for him in the gym, so I could get a proper look at him. I walked over to one of the lockers with the key still in it, number 31, and pulled it out. I looked back at him and he nodded. The locker was just as big inside as I'd thought, and went back about 5 feet into the wall. Forget a workout bag. I could have stored my entire wardrobe in that thing. After that, I headed back into the reception and the guy took down my details. I signed a few forms, and just like that I was a member. He told me to keep the key and explained that he preferred to have membership fees paid in cash. That didn't surprise me. I got the feeling that there were a few things about the place that wouldn't pass any sort of official audit. Still, it suited me perfectly, so I had no interest in causing them any sort of trouble. I gave him a big thumbs up, and he nodded, turned and headed out of the doors, off down the street.
Oh my god, I can do multiplayer now and get my ass
kicked. To be honest, I wasn't sure he was all there, if you know what I mean, so I didn't think too much of it. I did kick myself, though, as I realised I hadn't actually got his name, so Jay would have to do for now. With Jay gone, it seemed like I was the only one there, so got changed and got on with my workout. It was a bit eerie, being all alone in that huge room. I'm used to having the presence of others to motivate me, to push me further than I'd otherwise go, just to show off a bit. On my own, I found myself working out at a much more leisurely pace. I was more careful than I normally would have been, if only because I didn't have a spotter. The whole day I kept expecting someone else to come in. We'd get chatting, I thought, and I could maybe ask them to spot me, but The day slowly passed, and I was still alone.
He only likes to absorb people
Occasionally,
one at
there
a
were noises
time.
from the changing rooms that I would have sworn was someone coming in, but there was no one. Eventually, I showered, changed back, and headed home for a less than exciting dinner of chicken and beans. The next day was the same, and the one after that. No matter when I went, the place was always empty, with no sign of Jay or anybody else. I wondered if somehow I'd been tricked into paying to use an abandoned gym or something, but it was well maintained and really clean, so someone was looking after it. In fact, thinking about it, I'd say it must have been the cleanest gym I'd ever used, although at the time I thought that was because I was the
ranked,
only one
even though it
using
makes me scared.
About 5 days into my time there, I finally met someone else. Her name was Marie Balandit, and she seemed just as surprised to see me as I was to see her. Apparently she'd been using the gym for about 2 months and had, like me, thought she was the only one. She'd been off to see her sister down in Glasgow for a week and was a bit shocked I'd turned up in her absence. We got to talking though and got on pretty well, so sure enough, after a few minutes she offered to spot me. Truth be told, I was a bit dubious she'd be able to keep up, but a few sets shot me right up. Whatever she was taking, she was a lot further along than me, and by the end I was struggling when
Slightly
spotting her.
sexist bodybuilder
Still, there was
man.
a camaraderie that came from being the only two people in that weird place, and it didn't take long for us to become good friends, swapping diet tips and theories about what the deal was with Jay, whose real name she claimed was Jared. There was one other advantage to knowing Marie was around.
I didn't even know how to clip
It
that.
helped me ignore the sounds from the locker room, the occasional thumps and creaks. I could just write it off as her being a bit clumsy, even when I hadn't seen her come in.
Oh god.
Marie was apparently quite a big deal in some of the international women's bodybuilding competitions. I'd never followed them, but she showed me a few of her trophies once. The way she trained, though, it was intense, driven. More driven than I'd expect from someone with so many wins under her belt. She'd push herself way past the point of exhaustion every day, and for all the awards her body had gotten her, it sometimes seemed to me like she wanted to destroy it. Often I'd find her staring at the mirror in the changing room, her gaze locked on her shoulders, moving them slowly up and down with a look of disgust on her face. I didn't really think about it too much though, as my own steroid course was starting to show results, and I was spending plenty of time in front of the mirror myself.
Oh god.
It
What
wasn't
am I
enough
doing?
though.
Oh, what am I doing?
I knew it wasn't enough. I knew I was going to have to go on another course as soon as my body had recovered from this one. Maybe even sooner. I don't know how it would have ended if I hadn't lost my phone. I don't have much of a social life, so I didn't notice it was gone until I was getting ready for bed. It must have fallen out of my jacket pocket when I'd hung it up at the gym. I wouldn't have minded waiting until the next day, but it had my training diary on it, and I always spent 10 minutes filling it in before bed. It was a small ritual, but an important one, and given that it was just down the road,
I hate
figured I might as well
competition.
go and
It
see if
stresses
the
me
gym was
out.
still open.
This stresses me out. I
Since
shouldn't
no
have
one
done
ever
this.
seemed to be around, I figured maybe no one locked it overnight. So, at about 11:30 last Wednesday night, I found myself gently pushing open the door to my gym. It wasn't locked, just as I guessed, and everything inside seemed quiet.
Oh god.
I headed through into the changing room, and there was my phone, where it had fallen in my locker. I grabbed it and was just about to leave when I heard movement coming from the gym itself. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I should have left. I should have turned right around and marched out of that place. But instead I felt a rage building inside me. Whoever was in there,
There's an
it was
accent.
almost midnight. How dare they come in sneaking around like that, trying to give me a heart attack? I set my face hard and walked through, preparing to give Marie, or whoever it was, a piece of my mind.
What am I
The
doing?
lights in the gym
What am I
were
doing?
off, but
This was
I
a
could
bad
see
idea.
movement over near the gymnastics equipment. Someone swinging back and forth on the parallel bars.
Okay,
It was
Jared.
a smooth, rhythmic motion.
Oh god.
Down and around and up and over, around and over, up and down. Sometimes
be
the
over.
movement flew up, releasing the bars for a moment before deftly catching them on the way down.
Oh god.
There was no sound as I
no.
got closer, apart from the faint slap of hands gripping and releasing the wood
Again?
of the beams. If it was Marie, I'd never seen her doing anything like this before.
Oh god, I didn't
I
even.
walked
Oh
over and
god.
turned on the overhead lights. It was not Marie, swinging round and about on the bars. Marie only had 2 arms.
Oh god.
Marie had legs.
What did I do?
And Marie had a head.
What have I done?
The thing that swung and flipped and twirled around the bars was nothing like Marie, though its flesh looked human enough. It did have a smile, though, stitched right in the centre of its torso. I screamed so hard I tore something in my throat. I don't know if it heard me. I don't know if it even had ears. But it wasn't alone. And the other things in that place did hear me. Because as I ran back and out through the changing rooms, all the lockers were opening. What came climbing out of them had once been people. I'm sure of that, and they called to me, offering to help perfect me, to help me achieve my ideal body. Jay was there, standing his full height, a distended, jagged body bared in all its twisted grandeur, and he shook his head in frustration. He said something, I think, but I couldn't make it out. It might have been too soon.
This is bad.
I tried to remember some of them in detail, the confusion of limbs and joints and muscles, but all I can remember is the happy, joyful way they called to me. Told me that the pain was worth it. It makes me sick that a small, sharp part of me wishes I'd stayed to listen. I never went back. I called Marie and told her what had happened, but she didn't believe me. At least, I hope she didn't. Because if she did, then some of the questions she asked make me very worried for her indeed. Statement N. The supplemental materials that should go with this statement, providing more details on addresses, names and stuff, seems to be missing.
I'm just being bad at Tetris right now. It's not even, I'm losing the competition.
Out the name of the
I don't know what this guy's doing, but he's not beating me. I'm just beating my own ass.
Yellow Pages.
Oh no.
Bit of a relief in some ways. I tried to contact Mr. Davenport about it and did get through, but he told me to... he wishes no further contact with the Institute. Melanie looked into
I'm just kicking my own ass. I just kicked my own ass.
2012, she
I kicked my
really
own
well
ass.
in several IFBB competitions, but it looks like she disappeared around the time of this statement. No missing persons report was ever filed, but there's no record of her anywhere after that. The last official mention seems to be a police report filed on August 23rd, 2013, which lists her as a person of interest in a series of animal mutilations on a farm about 5 miles west of Aberdeen. A bunch of sheep were found dead, with their femurs removed. Look, I know we're not meant to speculate in these bits, but, well, I wonder what she was planning to do with them.
Oh god.
Well, that's,
I don't know how to play Tetris. Bye, Martin.
The Magnus Archives is a podcast distributed by Rusty Quill and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 international license.
I do not like
Today's episode was written by Jonathan Sims and directed by Alexander J. Newell.
Okay.
To subscribe, view associated material,
preying on people's insecurities and high standards. Okay.
Rate and review us online.
Someone else might have died.
Quill.
Okay.
Visit
And Martin was like, "Oh, bye."
At mail@rustyquill.com. Join our communities on the forum via the website or on Reddit.
Ooh, Michael Crew. Lovely.
Hi everyone, Alex here, co-creator of the Magnus Archives and voice of Martin Blackwood.
It's not
I'm here to quickly tell you about our
detective's lens of all of the evidence, taking you
available 100% on
www.patreon.com.
Oh my god, music starts. What is happening here? Okay, I don't. How am I supposed to see the chat? Oh god,
fine,
I'm scared
really.
someone's gonna start saying
just seem a
awful things in there now.
Jumpy is all.
Oh, I just, coming in, I thought that it's fine.
Grand. Okay, what can I do for you?
How do I leave?
You're Michael Crew, right?
It's Mike, please.
Right.
Why is there no
I'm from the
normal
Magnus
Tetris?
Institute.
Oh, you, yeah, you said.
I read. You feature in some of our statements.
Feature? Like he's the star. He's the starring
statements of
role.
There was a book, 2 of them at least. Ex Altiora, the Bone Turner's Tale. You, I think you threw a guy off a skyscraper in Paris.
That did happen.
Last chance for that cup of tea.
I love these personalities that they give these people.
Where did you get that scar?
Oh, that's a little. Oh.
And I was trying so hard to be polite. Hard, isn't it? Trying to ask prying questions at terminal velocity. The air
I don't know
it
what
doesn't
happens.
leave your lungs like you expect it to. I mean, I know you're still sat down. You know you're still sat down. But whether your body knows it when I decide you hit the ground, that's something I haven't made my mind up about yet.
This was a bad call.
A little bit of privacy. Is that really so much to ask? I suppose it is, isn't it? From you and yours, at least.
We see
have a lot in
everything.
common, really. And after all, what good's the height, the terrifying draw of gravity, unless you really know the scale of what you're facing? Hey, maybe I'll let you live. I need to drag yourself back down to your den, but you need to learn some respect. My scar, wasn't it? Always the scar. It's ironic in some ways, because it's one of the few marks that was only really ever physical. Got it when I was struck by lightning, age of 8.
I heard about
Playing
that.
outside with a friend of mine, and the storm just came on quickly. That's really all there was to it. Have you ever been struck by lightning? No, of course not. Not unless that's what happened to your hand, but I'm guessing that burn came from sticking it somewhere it wasn't wanted. And you still didn't
Like
learn.
always.
Well, imagine a white-hot, stinging pain. Your whole body becoming rigid. Like, for an eternal moment, you're frozen. You're trapped in a statue of yourself. With 1,000 needles of agony just erupting through you from the inside out. I don't know if it's the most painful thing that can happen to the human body, but
I think that's both.
beyond a
I'm
certain
a child
point,
rearing.
to quantify and measure pain, it becomes pointless. That point is being struck by lightning. The part that always bothered me was how I didn't remember it. Not really. The sensation's still vivid enough, but it exists in my mind completely detached from any actual memory. I remember the feeling, but not the event. One moment I'm playing amid raindrops the size of blueberries, and the next I'm in a white hospital bed. That acrid smell still surrounding me, and lines of agony just carved through my skin. The doctors told me there would be no long-term damage from my accident. They were wrong, of course, but the damage wasn't something they could see. So how were they to know?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, wait, you kill people. No.
Electricity with my finger, mentioning my pain, travelling these branching pathways. I was obsessed with it. Every time my finger reached the end of the line, I felt a jolt of fear, because I knew they went further, they went deeper than would show on my skin. By age 10, I was reading everything I could on what happened to me. The electricity, Lichtenberg's experiments, meteorology. My parents thought it was simply my way of recovering, of processing my trauma. But there was something else there. I know that now. Did you know that Lichtenberg figures are fractals?
Not fractals!
But as they travelled along the length of my scars, I sometimes think that my fingertips could feel it. When I was 12, curled under my bed to escape the pounding of the rain against my window, the
Yikes.
roll of thunder that just rattled my skull, I began to travel them once again. My hands ran down and along those jagged, discoloured lines, every branch, every turn. My nostrils full of ozone, my veins full of fear. They didn't stop. I knew where my scars ended, but those I traced in the dark that night, they just went on and on and on, far beyond me, and to somewhere that still flashed with that unspeakable white light. That was the night everything
What
changed.
am I doing?
Before it, I was odd, certainly. Probably traumatized and gripped with a terror of storms, but after that night, things were different. I think, looking back, that was when I called it. That was when it caught my scent. It delighted in toying with my perceptions, making me believe a storm was approaching, forcing me to run for shelter or desperately hunt for cover without warning. In the dark, it would stand beneath my bedroom window, the light flaring, flashing the awful brightness of sheet lightning across my room. I could never look directly at it. The bright, arcing glow of its insides almost blinded me when I tried. It was almost a man, but I could never be sure. Its strobing, flashing Lichtenberg organs changed and flickered too fast. It never hurt me. Not once in all the years I was chased by its malevolence. Of course, I know why that is now, but at the time it did nothing to dull my fear. I remember when it found out where I lived. I had dreamed that night of shifting, branching avenues of light. I travelled them so fast I could feel my flesh
It seems like the beginning has
away,
been haunted by this
nothing but the
lightning
coursing,
figure that he
buzzing pain
said
within me as I
when he
ran
like
down
jumped
this
off that
hideous
building that one
corridor,
time. That's what
aching
was
for an
chasing
end
him.
I knew simply wasn't there. I woke up screaming into the darkness. Walking to the window, I looked out over the tiny garden below. I was 16 at the time. The house I lived in had a small patch of green behind it, just fighting against the pressing grey of the city, the dull glow of the light pollution overhead.
Oh god, that was an accident.
But where the back wall should have been, there was a small wooden gate. I didn't feel the cold as I opened the back door and walked out towards it. My tormentor was nowhere to be seen. But the blackened edges of the gate showed clearly it had passed by. Was I afraid? It's hard to remember now, but I have to assume that I was. I mean, I must have been as I pushed those...
And he's giving this whole statement without John here. That's so funny.
Darkened forest. How could I not have been? It stretched away forever, I think. Or as close to forever as the human mind can contain. The trees were long.
This is my kind of Tetris.
Spindly.
Just a
Their
good
branches
old
bare and reaching as they
activity,
grew down towards me
consistent,
out of the sky. That roots
calm,
pulsing upwards
even
into this
if I'm bad.
roiling mass of clouds that scorched and shattered chunks reeking of ozone. I found the Journal of a Plague Year when I was 17. I was lucky, I suppose, that it wasn't anything worse. It infected the house, of course. Brought it crashing down upon my parents in a collapse of diseased brick and septic foundations.
That's not worse. I guess it didn't kill you. I think that's
more
what
than
you're
that,
talking about.
My eyes were open to the powers that might save me, might protect me from the past that followed me so brightly I could barely see it.
So wait, was this thing not the vast?
But I knew that filth was not for me. Buzzing flies
This
and
thing that
rot
was
disgusted me, but they never spoke to my soul. I threw the book into a sewer and began my hunt. The Bone Turner's Tale was next. Found tucked away in a waterlogged library basement and deposited back in another. I played with it, but when I tried to shift the bits of myself I thought might set me free, the only shapes I could form with them were laced with that horrid hunting fractal.
Ewy.
My experiments weren't entirely pointless, though. They did have a truth to me. I learned that I was more than capable of killing, if it brought me closer to what I needed. I spent some time with a small grey volume, I think it was in Cyrillic, that decided it was at home amongst my bookshelves. I couldn't read it, of course, but when it tried to read me back, I buried it on a lonely stretch of moorland.
Makes sense. That was an
Finally, I
accident.
found
Why
what I
did
was
that not
searching
work?
In the back of a Chichester bookshop, I found my release. Ex Altiora. From the Heights. The owner didn't want to part with it, a nasty, grubby little man who stank of sweat and self-importance, but I got it. And at last I had what I needed. The thing that chased me, you see, it was an arcing branch of the Twisting Deceit, taken shape.
An arcing branch of the Twisting Deceit.
The shape it had taken
Oh!
belonged to the sky, to those same vast unknowable heights.
The
that
twisting the seat, is
blessed
that
book wanted to take.
that's Michael's
Falling
stuff.
had always held a
The
special
hallways,
place in my heart, that
twisty
wonderful ball of
twasty.
stone,
Wait,
terror
that's like the first
delight.
time I've
When my
actually
parents would take me
understood
to the
that
fair,
line.
I always found my way
I was
to the
like
highest
confused
ride,
about that line when I
the one
watched
that would
it.
just send me plummeting. It wasn't simply the rush of adrenaline, but
Oh, God.
something deeper, something that just gripped my soul with this ecstatic horror. And I knew that within that book was something that could not only release me from my pursuer, but chain my being to that rush of wind and vertigo forever.
Oh God.
I don't remember that night in detail. The two most important events in my life, and I have clear memories
of the twisting
of
the seat.
I know that it was the first storm, the
twisting the seat, like twisting hallways, the seat as in deceiving your senses. I believe that's freaking the thing. It's, I don't know what I'm saying, okay. Boop, 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 boop. Dun, 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 dun. I keep forgetting to, say that I'm here for my actual, reservations for this space. Oops. I have an hour left. So I think I'll finish this and I'll start with. No, I'll just continue this. Should I stop this and then move on to Steins Gate? No, I'll keep going with this and Tetris.
real storm I had seen for almost 10 years, but nothing else remains in my mind.
Because this is a good
There
combo.
are echoes of resignation, I think almost desperation. That can't be right, though. What reason would I have had not to jump? Not to become as I am now?
Was it...
Perhaps I just didn't
Maybe
know
fractals
the true
are just
joy
always
of vertigo.
the stranger. Not the stranger, the
Doesn't matter.
frickin' deflackety spiral.
In the end, I threw myself into the arms of that vast emptiness. And I bound my tormentor to the book. That's all, I think. Since then, I've embraced my new life. Gladly fed that which feeds me. A Paris skyscraper? Was it, you said? Honestly, I can't say I recall it in detail, but that does...
You're so mean.
Sounds about right. Sometimes it's hard to keep track.
Casually killing people. Feeding that which feeds me, I guess that makes sense.
You know, that was nice.
Maybe compelling isn't so bad.
Not usually the sore for speeches. That was a pleasant change. So, off you go then.
With that echoing.
Just take my mercy and leave. You have touched something few ever walk away.
And this is when Daisy shows up and crazy stuff happens, right? Tries to kill him.
Can I help?
You killed Michael Crew. I forgot you killed him.
Human?
What?
Is this man human?
No. I don't think so, not anymore.
Right. What does it do?
It feels like he makes you vertigo, like you're falling.
Has he killed people?
Yes, a few, I think.
Does he need to see you to do it? Does he need to speak?
I don't know.
Okay. Doubt he can do it in a coma. Now turn that off and help me get him in the car. Don't try to run.
What do you...
What did I say about questions? I said turn that off.
It just turns back on.
This is it.
And what now? You kill us?
This is so cool.
He's going to save you?
What? No.
Oh my lord.
Now, let's see the bag. One wallet, brown leather, no cash. One packet cigarettes, silk cut. One lighter, gold, spiderweb design.
Spiderweb.
One
lighter.
pocket knife, blunt. One set of keys to the Magnus Institute. And one tape. You sneaky little freak! What? You want to record this? All right, I'd have to destroy it anyway.
What? I
He didn't do that. Like the god did that.
Please don't shoot me. Why are you doing this? Tell me.
I'm just
Stop
good evil like
asking
that.
questions. That's how you want it? Fine. You brought a knife, so we go through the voice box.
Daisy. Daisy, put him
Yeah,
down.
she knew she was gonna try to kill him.
Following me, Basira?
Didn't need to. I know what you do here.
He tell you?
He didn't need to. You're not that Sazzle. But
Dang.
I always thought you just killed monsters.
I do.
Oh, poor boy.
Let
I'm
him
so
go.
attached to him.
He is. You don't know what it's like to
I'm
have your
so
secrets
attached
pulled
to
out like
Jonathan Sims.
teeth.
I'm so sorry.
Just because he asked.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Shut up!
Daisy!
Don't you dare
The
look
way
at me
he
like
just
I'm
sounds when he's
crazy.
like, when he's
But
scared, it just makes
do
me
you
so
think we
sad.
gave him those tapes because we like handing out evidence?
What?
That's not how it happens.
No, you asked me to take a tape over to this murdering freak, and I'm all set to tell you a new one for
He
it.
did not do
But
that.
then I
Oh
get
yeah,
the
you think
cassette
he
in my
killed
hand,
that
and suddenly all
old
I want to
man.
do is deliver his tapes and spill my guts.
So now you kill him?
First him, then his creepy boss.
This is too far, Daisy. You know it is.
He murdered 2 people, Basira, maybe more. I've done
He
one
did not.
monster today, no reason not to do another.
I didn't kill anyone.
For God's sake, look at him.
Then who?
Yeah, look at him. Listen to his
it was
voice.
Elias.
That is not the voice of a
Yeah?
murderer.
Well, he's on my list too.
What if he asks?
What?
You reckon he can mind control people? Make them tell the truth? Why not try it on Elias?
My mind control powers. So true.
He's got his own. He knows things. Would that work?
I don't know.
How would he know? Oh yeah, you think he knows
Daisy,
things.
This might be our only chance to find out
Take it
what's
from me,
going
he
on.
does not know anything.
All right.
Jonathan Sims lives another day,
You're still dead.
miraculously.
What about Mike?
Who? Oh. Grab a spade.
I forgot we killed Michael Crew. He was so cool though.
The
Why'd I do
Magnus
that? Why'd I
Archives
do
is a
that?
podcast distributed
That's-
by Rusty
ugh.
Quill and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 International License. Today's episode was written by Jonathan Sims and directed by Alexander J. Newell. To subscribe, view associated material, or join our Patreon, visit rustyquill.com. Rate and review us online, tweet us at The Rusty Quill, visit us on Facebook, or email us at mail@rustyquill.com. Join our communities on the forum via the website or on Reddit at r/The Magnus Archives. Thanks for listening.
Okay, I don't know if I should move on to something else now. Before the ads start playing, but I'm playing